Jim Carrey has been somebody that he's been exposing this type of stuff for years. If you remember, he went on, I believe it was Jimmy Kimmel, and he did some interesting gestures and said some interesting things. Remember this clip right here?
Is that a gang sign? Oh, like you don't know what it is. You don't know what that is. I have no idea. You don't know. Jimmy Fallon doesn't know. David Letterman doesn't know. You don't know. All the comics and show business don't know what this is. It is the secret symbol of the Illuminati, the all-mocking tongue. For years now, talk show hosts, people on television, people in sitcoms have been hired by the government to distract you, to make you laugh and stuff like that, make you happy and docile, so you don't know what's really going on.
Isn't that interesting? Normally, people don't come on and make these type of jokes. And he said it's the all-mocking tongue. And typically, they would call it the all-seeing eye. When they do that symbol, they put the eye in the middle of it. If you go look at your dollar bill, I wish I had a dollar bill in front of me. You'll see that same dime, that pyramid shape with the eye on it on the dollar bill, right? And people say that's a symbol of the Illuminati and these secret societies and different things like that. And you could do a whole rabbit hole on just that alone. But Jim Carrey is mocking it, right? I want you guys to pay attention to this because what I show you next is going to be pretty crazy. Check it out.
Look at him trying to count it out. It's hilarious. Hilarious. You know what they're trying to do? Who? They're trying to turn us into, consumer drones.
He's saying this dude pretending like.
I just got to get this. Yeah. I'm sorry, Jimmy. I was temporarily interrupted by my iPhone 6 Plus.
Notice they put the fake laughter behind. And I seen reports that laughter was put there by the producers, that the audience wasn't actually laughing. The audience was just watching Jim Carrey talk about this stuff, that they didn't think it was funny. And they put the fake, audience laughter behind it so people at home wouldn't think nothing of what Jim Carrey was saying. And I thought it was interesting how he's pointing at Jimmy and saying, look, he acting like he don't know what it is. Right? And if I'm not mistaken, I didn't have this pulled up, but if I'm not mistaken, you guys let me know in the chat. Wasn't Jimmy Kimmel just checked by Trump? Didn't he almost lose his show for saying something against Trump or something like that recently? Anyways, after that happened, after Jim Carrey went on that show, very shortly after, I think less than a year, a little under a year, or about a year later, his girlfriend passed away from what they found her as, apparently a suicide. Now, I don't know if those two things were connected, but a lot of people online, when you go down this rabbit hole, a lot of people say that they felt like it could have been some foul play here. Now, that was never confirmed, but the report did say that she was found about a year later after her friends didn't hear from her for about 4 days. Her name was Catriona White, and they say she died of a suicide and had a variety of prescription pills in her system, a variety of them. Now, this is what the report says about that situation. The autopsy report for Jim Carrey's former girlfriend, Catriona White, reveals the heartbreaking circumstances of how her friends discovered her body. White, who fatally overdosed on prescription medication in September 2015, he went on Fallon in November 2014. Or excuse me, not Fallon, excuse me, Kimmel. He went on Jimmy Kimmel and did that, what I just showed you guys. That was November 2014. And she was found September 2015, the very next year. Says she fatally overdosed September 2015 and was discovered in her Los Angeles home by 4 friends after they became concerned when they didn't hear from her for 4 days following her split from Jim Carrey the week prior. So she passed away at age 30. The friends told the officers that she could have had depressive qualities, and after they had not heard from her in some time. Then they all decided to go to her house to check up on her in hopes of cheering her up. She failed to answer the door when they knocked. The friends entered the backyard through the unlocked side gate, and her friend, Dennis Bradshaw, told the officers that he was able to see inside the house, which looked dark, and that the alarm was not on. He went inside and began looking for White and calling out her name. He then found her in the back bedroom in her bed. And at first, he thought she might be sleeping. However, she was unresponsive to his calling out her name. He then got closer and realized she was deceased. So, with that situation happening, a lot of people started putting the blame on Jim Carrey, which is kind of crazy. But, the report went out and he did an interview with 60 Minutes the year prior saying that he was on Prozac for a long time. This is a quote from him. I was on Prozac for a long time and I'm not sure. It may have helped me out of a jam for a little bit, but people stay on it forever. I had to get off at a certain point because I realized everything's just okay. So people use that former interview to say he was on prescription drugs and he supplied her, according to the report. They were accusing him of supplying her with the drugs that she eventually used to commit suicide in 2015. That's something that he denied vehemently. So he told he told this group while he was speaking that he's a Christian, and Jim Carrey has constantly had these these clips and videos out of him speaking about that. And I want to get into that in a second, but I also want you guys to kind of understand Jim Carrey really loved this woman. He just posted about her last September, and he posted this silhouette of them together. And in the caption of the silhouette, he says something about them being in love. He said, "Love cannot be lost." And he shared that alongside the silhouette of him and Catriona and a red rose emoji. So I think he really loved her. And I think this really impacted him heavily. And I don't think that this was just somebody that he was dating or anything like that. He ended up beating the lawsuit because there was a lawsuit that went out. I think it was from her family in France that pretty much put the blame on him. So you could imagine everything that he went through, and all this stuff was following what he said on Jimmy Kimmel, right? The article that was reporting on him being sued for her death said Jim Carrey is no longer facing a civil lawsuit in the overdose death of his former girlfriend. Quote, "The case and all claims against Jim Carrey have been dismissed," a representative for him said, saying, quote, "He is extremely grateful to everyone in his life who supported him throughout this challenging episode." Now, that was a period of, I think they just dismissed that in 2018. So it was a period of, 3 years that he had to go through that, not only grieving her, and this is a picture of them together, not only grieving her, but also being accused of supplying her with the pills and being accused of it being his fault and different things like that. Now, she just passed away and nothing else happened. People wouldn't look at it like there was nothing there. But because of all the things that transpired after she passed away and the way he was attacked, people say this is revenge, that system getting revenge on him for the things that he exposed.